Hello, and welcome to Mr. America, the Bearded Truth, covering political and social issues one liberty at a time, with entertaining insights of current events and important discussions on topics that affect us all, shining the torch of liberty and brightening the future by bringing libertarianism into our everyday life. And now, your host, the friendly neighborhood libertarian, Jason Lyon, Mr. America, the Bearded Truth on Muddied Waters Media.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome in. I've got a little bit of a Bang energy drink starting off the morning. It's 10 a.m. here on the East Coast. Means I should probably still have my ass in bed, but liberty's risen, so therefore I am as well. Today, we are going to be talking about the state of the Libertarian Party. We're going to be talking about some of the things that have been going on lately. We're going to be talking about what the convention that's happening starting off today. The kickoff is tonight for the National Libertarian Party. They're in Reno, Nevada. There's a lot of incredible people already there. There's more people showing up because there have been storms across the country that have been canceling different flights and everything else. So we are going to see some crazy things happen today, tomorrow, and of course throughout the weekend. I wanted to come on here to talk to you guys a little bit about that stuff, but also be able to give my endorsements because we're looking at a new chair, we're looking at a new vice chair, we're looking at really a new slate for a lot of people. So today wanted to hop on here and just hang out with you guys, and so thank you guys, each and every one of you guys, for hopping in here. Thank you guys so much for sharing this, for supporting the message, for spreading this out to get it to delegates, to people interested in the party, maybe people that aren't interested in the party, and potentially even a justification not to be interested in the party, but to go on your own endeavors. We're gonna get into all of that, but thank you guys so much for supporting this show here on Muddy Waters Media. Of course, I am Mr. America, the Bearded Truth, Jason Lyon. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much to Matt and Spike for continuing to give me a platform where I get to share my views, my opinions, my stances on things. So these, of course, don't reflect on how they view things. It may not. I don't speak for them. I speak for myself. Today, the guest is me. You guys get it. It's awesome. So thank you guys for being here. And of course, big shout out and a big thank you to Kelsey Line Designs. If you guys are looking to make an incredible impact for your business, for your campaign, for whatever it is that you are looking to do, if you need somebody who is going to revolutionize the way that looks, to change the way that it's perceived by your audience, you got to get on over there to KelseyLionDesigns.com. Use the code Muddy Waters. She is going to hook you up with a nice discount, and she is going to make sure that you are ecstatic with what you get. People love her from across the country, and as soon as you head on over there to Kelsey Line Designs, you too will love it. So, want to also give a big shout out and a thank you to Nug of Knowledge. If you guys are looking to partake in some fun times, into some happiness, into some joy, and you guys need a good dealer that's going to take good care of you, head on over to Nug of Knowledge, where you can get the nugs, you can get the knowledge, and you can get the love. And use the code Bearded Truth, and you're going to be getting off a nice, amazing 10% off. And that's going to ensure that you get some of that love, you get some of that happiness, and you're going to have a good time. I guarantee it. So get on over there, Nug of Knowledge, use the code Mr. Bearded Truth. You won't regret it. And of course, because we flipping things up today, for those of you who want to support Muddy Waters Media, if you guys want to take the next step, right? You've been viewing it, you've been watching it, you've been interacting in the comments, you want to get more love from Spike, Matt, and myself, head on over to Muddy Waters Media, head on over to anchor.fm/muddiedwaters/subscribe. For the mere low price of $10, you will be getting exclusive content each and every week. Spike and Matt, if you guys missed that news, they're changing up the format for their shows coming up very, very shortly. I think next week is the last time they're going to do a regular live show on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. ish Eastern. From now on, they're going to be breaking into 3 different shows. 2 of those will be public facing, where, you know, each and every one of you guys get to enjoy that. But the 3rd one is the exclusive one. This one's going to be the one that's going to get you, it's going to get you invigorated. It's going to get you your blood pumping. It's going to get you excited about what is going on, about ways that you can engage, about the different current events, giving you that insider knowledge, that inside baseball knowledge, to where you can go and make a bigger impact in your communities with the things that they're going to be sharing on those exclusive shows. So you guys got to head over to anchor.fm/muddiedwaters/subscribe, and for the low price of $10, you're getting a $1 trillion value. I can say that inflation is incredible. So whatever value you want it to be, we'll find the inflation to make it work. But I think, are you guys ready? Are you guys ready to talk about the state of the Libertarian Party? Are you guys ready to get into the boringness, the just dredge through the drama and everything else? Well, I'm going to try and stay above that. So I'm sorry if you guys do. But I am, however, going to be taking a nice drink from a brand new tumbler. So if you guys are looking at that and you guys are like, Mr. America, the Bearded Truth, that's a nice tumbler, I would like to get one, let me know. I can hook you up with some of them details. But if you're looking for other Muddy Waters Media merch, you can always head on over to muddywatersmedia.com/store. But so the state of the Libertarian Party right now, we are in something that is not unfamiliar for people who've been in the party for a long time. The current state of the Libertarian Party is, there's been a little bit of blandness in the way that things have been pushed out, and there are valid concerns about the what the Libertarian Party is doing, right? Because we, as a part of the libertarian movement, as the liberty movement, as trying to set people free, we want to have the best examples in every way, right? We want to have liberty-minded organizations, businesses, schools, whatever it is, all these things that are interconnected in our society, we want them to be the best possible. And so because of that, we want to have the best party possible. We want to have a party that is going to come out with strong stances, standing up for liberty, standing up for the individual, standing against collectivist ideas. Holy smokes, it's hard to talk this early in the morning. Pushing against the collectivist ideas out there. We need that. That is imperative. And so when people have been critiquing that, they are on the right message, right? During the lockdowns, there was a lot of ambiguity and a lot of silence that maybe the National Party should have came out and said, you know, we're in favor of trying to save lives from COVID, but we're also in favor of allowing for people to survive as well. And so shutting down the economy wouldn't be necessarily in the best interest of millions of Americans who are going to be shut out from employment and from being able to provide for their own families. There's a lot of good messaging in that. So we want to see better messaging. And so I'm hoping that by the candidates that will be elected over this weekend, that we will see that. More caffeine. All right. I feel like I'm a Twitch streamer. Hydrate. You know, we want to see that. We want to see this weekend where we're going to put people in places to where they're going to not be timid about stepping out and putting the libertarian message first. Of course, we're going to continue having people be detractors from that and saying, well, I don't agree with the way that was worded. I don't agree with the sentiments. I don't agree with yada, yada, yada. Normal politics as always. You kind of gotta, you know, reflect on it, see if you can word it better, see if you can make that better. This is something that we all have faced. Anyone who is in any kind of a public figure, anyone who's making posts on social media, right? These are things that we have to take these criticisms and we have to grow from them. So hopefully by the people elected at the National Convention this weekend, we will see some of that happen. When it comes to candidates, right? Candidates is a huge thing, right? We've got some people in the comment section here today that are candidates for local offices, for city councils, for county councils, for state house, for U.S. House, even, you know, potentially even presidential candidates. These are people that need to be supported by, you know, their affiliates, whether it's a local race where it could be supported by the state chapters, or if it's a national one, the national party needs to be out there and trying to help build coalitions, build donor base, be able to give the infrastructure and the networking to make this all possible. And of course, this is something that if you guys missed it on Patrick Bet David's podcast with Spike Cohen, Dave Smith, and Larry Sharp, this is something that they were talking about, the infrastructure from the National Party. This has to be there. And one of those things is that we have to have a base level of libertarians winning across the country in city and county council races. We have to have that to where people can see that liberty is going to be valuable. It's going to add value to elect a libertarian to cut away at the fraud, waste, and abuse, to cut down on unnecessary laws, to cut down on the barriers for you to get into businesses, for you to be able to get healthcare, for you to be able to get education, for you to be able to, all of the things. We have to have that. So the National Party, this is one of the other things that a lot of people have scrutinized. Their capabilities have to be able to step forward. So of course that's going to be a topic that we're going to talk about when we get to the endorsement portion of this show as well. Pardon me. So two big ideas there. None of this was anti-pro caucuses, people, individuals, etc. We'll get into, hopefully we'll be able to glaze past the drama that we've been seeing. At the convention this weekend, there is a lot of drama that's coming up, and I want to say that when you view this drama, the most important thing is to say, is the drama the detractor, or is the reason for the drama the detractor? Holy smokes! All right, hydrate. And so we have to be able to look at those things. I think that there's an incredible, there's an event right now that is being heavily criticized because it is a competing event because there are two breakfasts going on at one time. And if you guys missed that, Edward Snowden is virtually joining the Libertarian National Convention this weekend. Incredible. I'm so excited to see how that's going to be fruitful for the party. As people buy those tickets, there is more money for the party to be able to do good things, right? Right now, we're talking about a national party that lost, I believe the number was $30,000 in the last quarter. A party that, during times of economic hardship, coming out of COVID, these are things that, we should be able to corral a little bit more support, because we're talking about how we stop these bad things from happening to people by the means of allowing the market to survive, allowing the market to be natural, allowing the market to go through its cycles in a more natural state, rather than having tyrannical dictatorships almost, but in seriousness, having government suppressing down the economy and then going, oh, I don't know why we need to send stimulus checks, or having the Federal Reserve printing out an absolute excess amount of funds in order to create the inflation that we're seeing. We as the Libertarian Party should be able to take this message, and if not receive donations, be able to grow our movement in such a way. So when we have these markets, when we have competing events, some of us say that it's a detraction from their events. This is merely just trying to allow for more people to be happy to find a home within the party. There are so many ideologies within libertarianism. There is a huge spectrum, and I'm excited to see more people be a part of this, to join in, and everything else. The state of the LP is in all 50 states. What a guy that Matt Wright is. You guys like that? I changed it out. For those of you guys in just the viewership, or just in the audio listening ship, I've got this is a beautiful Tumblr. Check out the video. You won't regret it. So we have to look at how this convention is coming forward. There's a lot of great events. Today is the day of education, where people are going to be able to get engaged and learn from people across this country that have been working on campaign funding, campaign fundraising, that are talking about how to effectively receive donations, how to brand, from Kelsey Line Designs, how to brand a campaign to be visible beyond just being visible, to to seeing all of, you know, the way that it's interacting, to have a message. You're going to be learning about how to actually navigate through the process of getting elected and everything else. There's so much value today in the day of education, the day before or the day of the convention starting, that if you guys are down there, I hope that you guys are taking part in that and you guys are extracting as much value, if not just for yourself, but also being able to bring that to others. This is the one thing that I really struggle with when it comes to the Libertarian Party, is that we commonly don't take enough time to share our wisdom, to share our knowledge, to share our ideas with each other in a way that others will accept it. We have so much infighting, but we don't have in loving, right? And so that's one thing that, I mean, that's the nature of why I have the show that the normal scheduled show that I do, is to talk about ideas, to talk about practices, to talk about these experiences that people have faced, maybe go through some of the hardships and go through some of the successes so that we can replicate the successes, so we can stop having the failures. And this is something that the day of education there at the National Convention is you're going to gain a lot of value, if not for yourself, but by being able to share that with others. And so I hope that anyone there will be able to share this out as much as possible. And let's be honest, Brian Scott Lambrick is giving a course, at least one. I think he's on a panel as well coming up. Brian Scott Lambrick is fantastic. If you haven't met this man, go listen to some of his stories. You'll love him. Ask him about the first time he smoked pulled pork. It was beautiful. It was delicious. So we're going to move into that, and then we're going to move into the business meetings tomorrow. The business meetings tomorrow, this is where a lot of the quote-unquote drama is going to be going down. This is where a lot of public statements have been made about intentions on changing agenda items, on changing out who the chair is. Currently, the chair of the Libertarian National Party is Whitney Bayou, and looking to replace her as the convention chair. We've seen a lot of unbecoming acts, both for and against different caucuses, different members, different things. You know, and I think that one of the things that we have to look at is when we look to change the platform, because that comes up in every business meeting. There's an attempt right now, and I don't want to dive into the abortion topic, but there's an attempt right now that many of you, if you were signed up as delegates, you received a letter saying, you know, spend all of your tokens to remove the platform plank. And the platform, or the abortion plank. The abortion plank is something that really isn't controversial. It's not something that it's not really one side or the other when you really read it. And so the Libertarian Party's abortion plank is neither pro-life nor pro-choice. It is recognizing that abortion is a sensitive issue and that people can hold good faith views on all sides. Good faith views on all sides. We believe that the government should be kept out of the matter, leaving the question to each person for their conscious consideration. Now, some people are saying that because you want to let people make their decisions, that it's clearly pro-choice. But when it talks to keeping the government out, this is also talking about keeping out funding, of getting government out of the way of preventing unwanted pregnancies. This is talking about, you know, a lot of different aspects, and we cover this on my show with Natalie Bruno. So if you guys are really interested in that topic, if this is something that really rustles your jimmies, if you will, go ahead and go back over there and check that episode out with Natalie Bruno. It was a fantastic episode. I love that one. But so we have to be looking at in not just how we view personally a lot of these things, but also understanding it from the perspective of the Libertarian Party is not for just you as a libertarian. It is for all libertarians. And so we will have those disagreements, and we will have good faith arguments on both sides of the aisle. Personally, this may be a conflict for some people. I'm personally pro-life. I believe that life is at conception, and I can already see the comment section getting upset about this, but that's where I stand. I want government the hell out of it. It's a huge conflict. But I don't want to dive into this. So there's a lot of attempts to be changed and a lot of attempts to take over in how we have to be viewed as libertarians. And at the end of the day, I think that it's important that the party be a party for all libertarians, and that we can, have people have different views and everything else. So I'm excited for that. Any other big things? So of course, the takeover is one of the big things that a lot of people are both for and against on this. I think that, if this was a more natural thing where it's, hey, look, we just have better ideas and naturally we take over it, that's one thing. I think coming in and pushing for it and saying we're going to take it over so that real libertarians have a voice, I don't know that I agree with the messaging and everything else. Take it for what it is. But yeah, so we'll finally get through some of the debates. We'll see the chairs debate, we'll see the vice chairs debate, and we'll see all that. And then now we can finally get into what I hope you guys were excited about, is the endorsement list. Who should be, and we're going to talk about all of them. Who should be elected? Why should they be elected from the perspective of Jason Lyon, Mr. America, the Bearded Truth. So for chair, there's really 3 candidates. There's a 4th candidate, Chris Emery, who didn't really step up and out onto a serious campaigning strategy until potentially really late in the game. So I'm gonna hold it down to the 3. That's Steve Dossbach, that is Tony DeRazio, and Angela Mcardle. The 3 of them have been running and campaigning for a good time. They all were a part of, if you guys missed it, Cajun Libertarian had a debate amongst all 3 chairs in the past. You guys, recommend go check that out if you have time before you vote, or if you're just interested in learning more about these candidates. They've all made different, they're all very distinct in how they operate. So I want to go through each one. Steve Dossbach is actually my county chair right now. I live down the street from the man. He's a great guy. He's really knowledgeable. He's been a part of the party for a long time. He has experience as the national chair in the past. So I think that would be something that would be good. He's got some metrics from the time when he was in the party or as chair that show that he at least was witnessing, if not a spearheading, some of the growth that we saw in the Libertarian Party under his while he was chair. So there's some good stuff for Steve, right? For Tony is a guy that when I think of a libertarian, is somebody who is, stands for the individual, stands for liberty, stands for freedom, but when issues are not necessarily anti versus pro liberty, he's just kind of that chill, laid back guy that's just hanging out and having a good time. This is Tony, and you can see this from the way that he has a lot of his interactions. Tony is a guy that I've had a good amount of conversations with him. He's a real dude, and another guy that brings a lot of value and experience and wisdom to the table. There's plenty of good things to say about Stephen and Tony. Angela Mcardle, of course, is the 3rd chair. She is somebody who, during COVID, she was not only as a chair of the Los Angeles County, she was not only vocal in pushing against mandates there, but she was also pushing against in New York. So this is somebody who has, not just in my backyard, but in your backyard as well, I'm going to be pushing to make some changes. So, we have to applaud all of that. She is somebody who likes to dive into some of the theories and everything else. It's always interesting to watch that. So, from the positive side of things, there's a lot of good things there amongst these 3. Now, I would be remiss in just giving you guys all the good information about these candidates and just kind of like letting the negatives be to everyone's opinions. In my view, when I look at these 3, there are negatives that stand out for all 3 of them. And this is something that I would like for you to weigh on before I give my endorsements. So for Steve is somebody who really likes to respect how the respect the powers in office at the time, right? As he's campaigning, he's not looking to put out his opinions and his views. This is from him. I had addressed him in a recent Q&A forum. So he's not going to step out and use the opportunities to campaign on drama and events going on in the party, because he is not the chair at the time. Now this is something that, you know, for the respect of those in power, that's one way, and of course not looking to be an opportunist. That, you know, that's favorable and disfavorable for different people. I put it more in a disfavorable category. I would like to see somebody say, you know, this is how I would like to handle this. Here's a solution. Here's how this is how I would like to see this be handled. Because as chair, you really are nothing more than trying to cattle up a bunch of stray cats. It's an incredibly difficult thing, but having that leadership stepping out, I think that would be great for Steve Dosbach. For Tony DeRazio, this is somebody who, I hate this because I had a circumstance where I got to see something from Tony I didn't like, but when I confronted him about it, it made me really love who Tony was as a person. Tony had stepped out and had agreed with an ideology, or agreed with a change to an event. And when this happened, he admitted that he felt dirty by stepping up and making that stance. And so my analysis of that is that Tony is going to make mistakes. He is going to just kind of, he may be a little bit quick to make decisions, but, and there's a big but here. When I confronted him and I was like, if it feels dirty, don't do it. This is when Tony showed his character on this and said, you're absolutely right. I shouldn't have done that. I had presented an idea to him and he said that actually was a middle ground thing. That was actually a unifying thing where we can see both sides coming together and seeing that this is for the betterment of both sides. You don't have to agree with the other side entirely, but this would be it. And so, you know, he had the humility to say, I was wrong. He had the humility to go, I am willing to listen to others. So the negative of him willing to step out and make some decisions, borderline rash decisions, but to be able to reflect on those and to grow from those, that is an incredible thing as a leader. Angela Mcardle, she's listed herself as the most transparent candidate for chair. I've posed questions to her in the past about some of her comments, some of her stances, some of her views. In doing so, I've received nothing in response. I've had comments deleted. I have had other people post these questions and concerns to her. And so my fear is, and I've been told that I'm wrong by people in her camp, but my fear is that she is, in some effects, taking orders, marching orders from not her own. I want a chair that I can trust to make the decisions. I want a chair that I can trust that they are making those decisions. And with Angela Mcardle not willing to address some of these concerns, that is a major red flag for me. You know, as we talked about with Steve Dosbach not coming out and presenting an opinion or a view, this is, she was willing to put a view out there. She was willing to put a stance out there, and then was not willing to confront some of those challenges around those views and ideas. So there's two sides of that coin. Now, I want you guys to digest that. I'm going to talk a little bit about the vice chair candidates, and then we'll come back and we'll do the endorsements for the chairs, because I want you guys to grapple with that. I don't want to be the thinker and say, here's my pros, here's my cons, and here's who I'm endorsing. When it comes to the vice chairs, there's really three people that I saw standing out above the rest. Because there's a lot of other people that have, you know, like Chris Emery for the chair, that have come out maybe they haven't campaigned as much as others. Maybe they haven't made a strong announcement. Maybe we'll see some surprise candidates. But there's three people that have been made clear that are on the minds and the tongues of a lot of people, and those are Alex Flores, Eric Rodsep, and Josh Smith. I'm really stuck between two of those, and for a lot of libertarians who know Josh Smith is somebody who is viewed as more toxic than others. So I'm really not going to deal with the Josh Smith thing. I'll receive the blowback for that if necessary. But it really is because of the professionalism, because of the middle grounds, because of the willingness to work with other people. Eric Rodsep and Eric Flores are the two candidates that for a lot of the delegates, this is where they're going to be grappling with. So Alex Flores, where did he come from? Right, Alex Flores is a guy that I have never seen him, come with without being informed on the facts. He is somebody who is incredibly level-headed, even amongst the drama and the arguments and everything else. Alex Flores is the guy that you can rely on, that when you have conversations with him, he sees the good in others. He sees everybody as a person, and he wants to be able to work in order to make the party better. He is a guy that is driven to... Oh, Joe Hopman. Yes, sorry about that, Adam. Good call on Joe Hopman. But Alex Flores is there for the party. He wants to make this party effective. He wants to see liberty grow through the political channels of the Libertarian Party. Eric Rodsep is by effect a lot in the same way. He is an incredibly level-headed guy. He is somebody who you can trust, that you can go to with a problem, and he's going to become informed, and he's going to do a boatload of research in order to figure out what is the best way forward on things, right? It doesn't matter for me on a lot of these candidates who's endorsed them, who hasn't endorsed them, who has endorsed the anti-candidates on these things. I want to look at these candidates individually. Between the two of them, they're great people. So for the chair race, Steve Dossbach, Tony DeRazio, Angela Mcardle. I've been battling this out. I have been grappling with which one of these candidates really stand out to me, and it was honestly stuck between Steve Dossbach and Tony DeRazio. This is something that I've battled with. I've flipped and flopped throughout time, which is why I don't like doing endorsements early. I like to see the whole thing through. So forgive me for jumping on the bandwagon of throwing out my endorsement the day before before they're elected. But when I look at Steve and I understand Steve's activism, when I understand his advocacy, when I understand his principles and his ideas, Steve is a great guy through and through. There's nothing that I will say against Steve that causes me to concern that he is not trying to do the best for the party. And being chaired, that is one of the biggest driving things. Steve is trying to do the best for the party, and he has shown that he is willing to work with others. Tony DeRazio is somebody who is incredible for being able to learn. His activism, his advocacy, and everything else, his level-headedness, his ability to communicate with others on their level, right? These are two candidates that I see that would be great for the party in different ways. And so between the two of them, the party would not go wrong. But I do have to stand here today and my endorsement, my endorsement for the Libertarian Party chair to help be a driving force in making this party be successful, to allow for the unification of this party amongst the infighting, as amongst another attempt through the history of the 50 years of the Libertarian Party, another attempt at a takeover from an otherwise outside movement. My endorsement is going to go towards Tony DeRazio. It's not by any means a massive difference between the two in levels of support. Steve Dosbach, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys. As I told you guys when I spoke about Steve, he is my county chair. I see Steve so much. I love Steve. And he's promised me that he's going to stay involved even if he's chair. So do not hold your vote from Steve if that's your intentions. Do not hold your votes from Steve if that's your intentions. Because you're worried about me and my Greenville County meetings. But Steve is, I love Steve as my chair. And so that may have teetered this a little bit in one way or the other. For the vice chair, between Alex Flores and Eric Rodsep, whew, Alex is the guy that has come in a little bit late. He started receiving endorsements from both sides, or from all sides, from the radicals, the radical libertarians, from the moderate, from the pragmatists, from the Mises caucus. He has gotten endorsements across the entire spectrum. Alex is a fantastic guy, and it shows by his ability to transcend all of these different ideologies and to be able to be reasonable and accepting and loved by everybody that he works with. He was out there last night, 11 p.m., solving problems at convention. This guy puts in the blood, sweat, and tears for the party. He is. There's nothing that I can say that would take away from the greatness that is Alex Flores and the value that he adds to this party. Eric Rodsep is somebody who comes in with just a level of professionalism that you can't deny. He is a man that comes with a plan. He is able to mitigate through hazards and through barriers and through all of these things with just such a grace. He's incredible. So don't think that my endorsement on either one of these takes away from the other one. Those two candidates, the party will not go wrong at all with them. But if I was forced to vote for one of them, this is actually the hardest one for me. If I had to vote for one of these for the future of the party, Eric Rodsep has, I think Eric Rodsep, when we look at the different attributes necessary for a vice chair, he has a little bit more of that professional edge when it comes to handling the infrastructure. Alex Flores has the communication side of it, the way of delivering it to people, to make it accessible to more people. I'm still struggling with this one. So we're gonna go on to the secretaries. There's two candidates for secretary: John Wilford and Karen Ann Harlows. Tyler Smith, I just read it. Tyler Smith, if you're watching, I copied and pasted what you wrote. So I didn't mean to name drop like that. But John Wilford and Karen Ann Harlows. Now, Karen Ann Harlows, her history, she was secretary before for the Libertarian Party National. And she did a great job. She was there to make sure that, minutes were taken, that everything was addressed, that everything was up to snuff. Karen Ann Harlows was somebody that was respected across the entire spectrum of the party. When she was removed, and some people say that she was removed for bad things, they just went on a witch hunt after her, etc., etc. I'm not here to grapple with that idea. But when she was removed, there was a difference. There was a phoenix rising up from the ashes that has changed the way that so many people have viewed Karen. I saw a lot of people across the libertarian spectrum say, I used to support you and endorse you wholeheartedly, and I cannot throw you support anymore. I'm one of those people, in full transparency. If you are witnessing her rhetoric and if you were on the inside baseball, if you will, of the party, you would see that there's some things that, just don't pass the sniff test, if you will. And so for me, because of that, and because John Wilford, in his actions as secretary in Texas State, a giant delegation, a giant party there in Texas, because of his efforts there in Texas, because of the way he's conducted himself and handled himself, and is able to traverse through a lot of the libertarian issues of the day, I throw my support, my whole support and endorsement behind John Wilford. Now we're back at the vice chair. Alex Flores or Eric Rodsep. I'm still battling this out. I want you guys to know that this is something that between those two, you can't go wrong. And so I just endorse that you guys vote for one of the two. If I had to throw my coin in, if I had to throw my token behind one of them, I don't know that I would. And it's not a NODA. It's a both of. A BODA. Both of the above. They're so incredible. I can't say on them. I can't say on them. And that's me being a coward. Call me a coward. Call me a wimp. I cannot pick between Alex Flores and Eric Rodsep. They are both incredible people. They will do incredible things for the party. I can't pick between the two. Treasurer. This is one that has been contentious as well. Tim Hagen is the current treasurer for the party. Todd Hagopian is the challenger. Todd Hagopian is somebody that we've had on this show before. Hopman also has experience and skill. Yes, he has experience and skill. Hopman does. He is not somebody that I've seen enough from on the campaign trail. I know that he's got a great graphic designer. I know that my problem is that when I was building this list, when I was compiling this, I was looking at that, and I don't have. I wish that I saw more from Hopman. I have seen open forum Q&As with different candidates, and I haven't seen him be a part of any of those. I don't know if it was a matter of them not being reached out to, of him not being reached out to, or if it just wasn't matching up in the schedules. But I hadn't seen enough there to know that this was a serious race from him. And that's one of my problems. So Tim Hagen has been doing a great job as treasurer. He is somebody who knows the ins and outs, and he is he knows the ins and outs. He knows how to do the FEC filings. He's been able to work through those in the past. His experience to lean on that is fantastic. Todd Hagopian is somebody who has a wealth of experience when it comes to handling financials. He is, when he came on the show, we were talking about finances for a reason. He is somebody who I would trust with handling my finances any day of the week. I know that I would benefit from having him be a part of that. And so my decision really came down to, there was an issue in the past of some filings that led to some issues. I believe it led to some fines and fees because it wasn't being handled correctly. And I would love to see Todd be able to run this party as treasurer, to be able to help be a part of that. I think that he has an incredible asset, has incredible skills, and would be a valuable asset to this party in that position. But I'm also concerned about, because we don't have much, because we're living on a libertarian budget, if you will, having that be in the front. And so I would love to see, more experience, a mentorship, to see how that would be able to work out. So I don't want to knock Todd for that, but it is a concern for me. So I would like to see him be in some kind of a role where he's a part of that community that is working within the treasurer's office of the Libertarian Party. But I at this time I'm going to be supporting Tim Hagen on this. So it was he was in one debate with Cage. I missed that one. I didn't watch that one. I was at work that night. So I right now I am endorsing Tim Hagen, but I think that with a little bit more understanding of the complexity of the laws, and right, and this is something the libertarians talk a lot about, is how complex these laws are when it comes to FEC filings, when it comes to election laws, and how things have to be conducted. This is something that we complain about a lot. So it is not a knock in any way to not have that experience. It is just something that I would feel more comfortable if he was to be able to obtain that experience before being elected to treasurer. And so for just a matter of comfort, I would love to see the two of them work together. I would love to see Todd be able to come in and be able to help support and grow and help with financial decisions, and be able to, you know, help this party grow through the financial means. But I will also want to rest on Tim Hagen and his experience on that. So there's my endorsement list. It's I feel really bad because I didn't watch the one debate with Hopman, and so I apologize for that. I will have to go back and check that one out and see if it's worthy. Every candidate for every office, internal or external, should climb the ladder to build experience. Absolutely. This is yes, right? This is one of the reasons, and to get into some of the reasons for a Libertarian National Party is to be able to help with national candidates, push a president and vice president through the ballot access, to get them onto the ticket, to get them onto the ballot, to get the votes, to help give the infrastructure to these candidates so that we can have a president and vice president of the United States. But without that climbing of the ladder, in the building of the ladder, of having at county and city councils, having libertarians throughout the country be elected, without having them at the state houses, without having them at US houses and senates, what you will see is that they will be completely ineffective. And so we have to build this up. We have to build this up. That is imperative, that we build that ladder and that people are climbing that ladder. Well stated. I appreciate that so much, Matt. But with that, guys, I do want to let you guys know that there may be potentially a regular scheduled show tonight with Matt Wright on the writer's block, of course. I don't have his guest, but enough of you people said it on Twitter. If you guys are not following me on Twitter, Mr. Bearded Truth, enough of you guys have said it on Twitter, and I am going to follow through on it. We're going to talk about the shooting. We're going to talk about school shooting. I'm not going to harp on it from a here's what's happening here. We're going to talk about some of the things, and we're going to talk about how society has been structured through legislation and through culture, and how that actually has led us to a circumstance that is not to the benefit of our children in schools, of course, but also to the benefit of society. So I hope that you guys will be joining me tomorrow on the more regularly scheduled Mr. America, the Bearded Truth show, and I am so excited for that. So I hope that today was valuable for you guys. I wanted to step away from the drama and a lot of the issues. We can glaze over those real quick, but I think that the important thing is that we come together as a party, that we find a way to support candidates that will be unifying and also be supportive of the party, to help the party grow, and to work with libertarians across the spectrum to make this a thing. And so that's why my endorsements went the way that they did. That's why I support the way that I support. That's why I stand here before you guys in front of this webcam, and all of you, all hundreds, maybe even thousands, maybe even trillions of you, who knows how many people there are, inflation of population, and do what I do, is because I want to make liberty happen. And through one market, through one sect of liberty is the Libertarian Party, and I want it to be as effective as possible to spread the message of liberty, to be as effective at being able to help change the culture in a society that we live in that doesn't let people live free. And I want to see us be free in our lifetimes. So I love you guys all. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for hopping in here, for sharing it out, for building the stream. But with that, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you guys soon. I love you all.